Okay.
Here we go. Okay. All right. I just want to show you how I adjusted. I had it real, like I had these darks here, and in order to get a a lighter haze over it, where in the end I'm going to get those weeds that are sticking up. But what I did was I mixed some yellow ochre. Let me see if I can get this. I mixed some yellow ochre. I added a little alizarin and a little green until I got it to a point where, when you put it on, it, it's going to work. Not too light, but I'll show you what I did. So I took a brush and I put it on. This is working quite well right now, but before I had it, I'm trying to figure out how to tone this down. So then what I did was I just wiped it. So if it's too light, you just wipe it. So that mixture is just a dull golden color, and I think that it's a good idea to get some of that in there, because for the most part it is light, and it does have some of those browns in there, which we can put in later, but at least now looking at it, I could correct it and could change it to a color and a value that I feel I want in the end, because I'm going to want it to not shout. See, what I'll do then is I mixed all my colors. I told you to do that. And so I have very limited palette. I using a limited palette right now for this. I have the cerulean or the Sèvres blue in there, and I have the cobalt in there. I don't want to move this too much. I'll be hemmed in here. So I have that color added, and that, and of course the Viridian, can't do without Viridian. And then I have my violet gray. These are the extra colors. I mixed that initial, the yellows and some of the purples, just so I have them. So then I have that, and then I have the transparent oxide red, and I do have Terra Rosa on here. So, but I don't know if we'll be using those today, but just so you know that this is my palette that I'm using on this. What I did, I made my greens with the yellow, cadmium yellow and ultramarine. I made other greens with yellow ochre and Viridian. I mixed the gray. The key is you find a gray that works for you. And I found that with this, if I use that violet gray with a touch of the transparent oxide red, and then mix it with white, I'm getting a very, sort of a warmish gray. So I can get it here. I can always take other colors and add them. But that's one gray that I have. And then the other gray is the ultramarine blue mixed with the transparent oxide red. And these are the grays that I get with that, very blue. The more of the red that I would add to it, the more blue it'll be, the more gray rather, the more gray. So that transparent oxide red is not a red like a cadmium red. It's basically a toned down red, an earth red. So these right now are what when I do need something that I have to gray out, I will use those. Other than that, I have my cadmium yellow. This happens to be my yellow ochre. This is cadmium yellow where I was mixing it with alizarin until I got the various values, hues, like a middle, a deep, almost a red. These are my violets, alizarin, and ultramarine. So if you get this far, if you do this ahead of time, it's easier just to go in and say, well, I need a little bit of this, or I think I want it to be a little bit more green or a little bit more gray. Then you can just pick it up and not struggle with trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do with that? You can mix a gray with a yellow, a red, and a blue. And in your limited palette, you're going to get a beautiful gray that way. So it's just a matter of having a warm, the red, this red, transparent oxide red with either of the two blues. That's already a gray, violet gray. And then with the ultramarine and you can add any of these colors to this gray or that and just make it more violet or warmer, yellowish. So that's just a little head start there. Right, so I have that. And then this is something now that I'm going to have you look at how I'm doing it and then not spend the whole time doing it, if you know what I mean. Not what I'm doing with the pumpkins. Again, I'm using those mixtures. I used those mixtures and I toned them down. Now, if it's I'm just trying to get like the contrast where it's a little darker, where it's going to blend and get lighter. You can see it on your photograph. You can see it on your photograph how in some places it's very dark red. It's not a red. It's these mixtures where I've taken the red and even done a little green maybe to tone it down and until I get the dark that I want, alizarin. So I'm taking some of the red that I mixed, a little bit of green mixture, and I'm going till I'm happy with that it's red enough. See, now I hit the cadmium red. Look at that. No, that's not what I want. What am I going to do about that? I'm going to wipe it off. So what I want to do, I'm going to just show you a couple of these. And then during the week, work on those pumpkins so that we're not spending weeks just following the instruction and and doing something, but it's just hard to, my brush just doesn't want to cooperate. That's a good excuse, right? The brush doesn't want to cooperate. All right, so I have a pretty good mixture in this one. See, I'm going to do this little cluster right here and just show you what I was doing when I was practicing what I'm going to teach today. And I'm just rubbing softly So now I have what I think I'm going to use as my darkest, and I'm going to come up on the palette when I want now. I want to bring the light around. So I'm going to take a little of that yellow and coax it in, which I did. I just, so you can see what I'm doing right here. I coaxed it in. And then when I get that far that it can hit with where you see where the sunlight's really hitting that, then I'm going to take one of the yellows. I think I'm going to try the lemony yellow, the gambling yellow, and just gradually, I'm pretty happy with that. If I want to make it even brighter or lighter, because it seems like, and then I'll just blend it in a little bit with same brush I'm just using. And I think, in the end, I think that's what I'm going to have. I still, in the end, might get a little bit lighter. Those pumpkins on that photograph are very light. It's hard for, I'm looking at my computer and I can see that it's, might be hard for you to really see what I'm doing. Now that's a little better rather than that bright light from outside. Yeah, I think that's better, isn't it? Now I can't see. Let me try this 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to try this. I have the blinds down because it's just right now very, very bright. And what I'm seeing on my computer now is closer to what I'm doing than what you just saw before.
Okay.
So down here, just because I'm being fussy with this, I'm going to take alizarin, take a barely touch of green to make sure it's still reddish, but I just want to get where I see, I'm seeing really dark here. And then, of course, when that dries and we bring some of those grasses over it, that's, that's going to work. If you'll look at your photograph, I see more detail, back here, it's further in the distance and you're not seeing as much of that contrast of, of the colors. It's more subdued. These are more in focus. And it'll get just a little highlight on the top, maybe a little down here. See, now this is why I said I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing this because it'll take us the whole time just to decide, all right, what do I want to do with this pumpkin? What do I want to do over here? But you see, as I'm working on it, I'm looking at it and it's more what I want. I'm looking at the photograph and every once in a while I see more you know, just like a little more hint of a red, so we can keep those really nice colors in there. One thing I want to try, just might be sorry. I just took a little transparent oxide red because I want this, and I have a very soft brush, and I like it. All right, see, this is what I'm working on. So I took a little bit of transparent oxide red on one of those Rosemary 279 brushes that are very soft, and I can just coax in the deeper you know, where the shading. Okay, so you got that. So what I think we should do. Oh, and I want to tell you too that I have been putting whatchamacallit, solvent-free gel in with my paints, mixing the solvent-free gel with the white, where you take a glob of it and you mix this. And then I also, all these colors that I mix, I put a little bit of that gel in, because it ends up giving it a little shine, and I like that. Right, so let's focus on a very difficult part of this painting. I'm going to move my Terra Rosa over so that I have a real clean section of my palette. Right here, see, that was Terra Rosa. And I don't want that in my color, not that, anyway. And so that when I start to get these colors here that I want, I'll have a mix. I'm going to mix them. First of all, see, I already put a very dark line there. So what we'll do is take the same brush, trying to use this isn't an exceptionally big brush, but it's a little bigger than maybe I would have chosen. But I'm just looking at it now. I think what I'm going to do is try to mix that color first. And I think I should have had the one I was using, you know, that I was practicing on, and I did have that color already started. Right, so I have I'm gonna get some. This is much too dark, by the way. Much too dark. But at least I can use it as a guide. Now here, this, you know, the line that I made here is just too dark. But you know, we sort of, when I did it, just so that I would know, you know, that I want that swooping line. But let's see what we can do to get the colors that we want for the field, and that it's toned down. I'm going to start with alizarin, do it here, and we're going to try a little bit of the transparent oxide red. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to take white. So here, see, the transparent, the alizarin is very pink. So to tone that down, I have to use a green. And I want it to be, I'm going to use one of these greens, not the Viridian right now. I'm going to take some of the green, the darker green of this yellow ochre mixture. I'm going to put that in there. Probably did too much for that pile because now I have a very green, right? It's a pretty green. I really like it. Nice green. So now I'm going to take because I want it, I'm going to leave some of that green because I see that in the bottom part of the field. I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to take more alizarin, take some of this away, and make that, turn it to this grayed out rosy. Alizarin's has very strong tinting. Now I have a grayish pink, which I might have to adjust that, but I'm going back here just to see on my painting. All right, I want it more. I'm adding a little as you're mixing. I'm saying to myself, nope, I made a little bit too gray. So I'm adding a little bit more of alizarin, a little bit more white, because I want to keep it that sort of pastel color. Still too much. So I'm still, while I'm talking to you, I'm adding alizarin to this original mixture. And I'm still not getting it. Okay, I'm going to add a little more. And white. Very white. Yeah, I'm going to go with that for right now, just as a base color. And you know what I'm going to add to it? A little bit of transparent oxide red, which I did. And I added a tiny bit of transparent oxide red to that color. And I came closer to what I want to just sort of wash into that field. This is what I've been doing. I put that color down and I just wiped it with my Viva. And I have this very lovely pinkish color, but it has to be, I just feel it has to tone down a little bit, make it, so with the transparent oxide red, just a little bit, I'm toning it down that way. And so wherever I see that color, I want to put it in and I'm going to wipe it. For me, for now, it's just working. I want to get the canvas covered. There are some, coming in here. But now I have to watch it because I want it to, look at how much lighter it looks there. Not good. Too much. All right. I like this color there. So I'm going back into there's some here. It comes like this and goes like that. So I'm making my brush, even though it's not completely and yeah, we're going to do this. Now, this is my base. I'm just saying, okay, this is my base. See, now I can get rid of that dark line. You got some green in there. That's okay. My brush hit the green. Gonna come into it in a minute. But I'm trying to decide where this has to go. And I want gonna try a little bit of the Terra Rosa. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Terra Rosa to that. Like I said, I'm experimenting with it because I want it a little bit more earthy and green. Yeah. So I'm going into my green, and what I'm doing is taking it off the palette, not real. Whoops, that got a little bit too. Not really, because I see that coming in here. Look at that, where it comes. So look for those places where there's some more green, where it's a little bit more rosy. And when it goes to the top, it changes totally. But this is, for now, I'm just saying this is my base. And I'm going around my palette, and where I feel I have to tone it down, not be so pink, I'm going to take a little of the transparent oxide red in there, take a little bit of my green in there, and just picking it right up from, as I'm painting, I have this, and I'm going into this, and I'm seeing where there are places where you really see that green that I just showed you. So it's sometimes green, sometimes rosy. Over here it's much too pink, right? So I'm going to add some of the warmer green. And hopefully in the end I'll have what I want. This, you can see, if I took that original straw color mixture that I showed you down here, and where I had that line, I can put it in there, just adjust it, and it comes over like this, comes up, and then it angles. Look, there's some here, so you have to, I have to, you have to, we have to, whatever you want to say. Just take note of where you see the changes. Like up here, very light. You see some very light. And I'm going to put that in here for right now, but that's going to be highlighted. So that's a violet color right up here, reddish. I'm going by my yellow ochre right now. Very careful, because it's when you add white to that, it's very bright. But I'm just trying to get some variation in that mixture. And I will take now a very soft brush. It's got paint on it. But you see, you can soften it and keep on going. All right, I'm going to get that back by going into my earthy colors, my alizarin mixture that I made. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this brush and top it off. Can be a little greenish, little. You can put that back up here. See, I just took a little of my yellow green, and I'm getting it up on the edge here. Because I see it. I see a little touch of green back there. And right here. So I'm at this point with this one now, I took some of the yellow ochre green, and it is accomplishing what I want, really, with a white. Being careful just to suggest that green back there, you can see it. Some places you actually see the furrows, and other places you don't. But I think I'm getting the colors that I want. To see, it needs to be more green here. I got a little bit too rosy. And you know, all right. So continue that all the way across. Let's do that. I might change that green a little bit too, to a cooler green. My problem is I get real bogged down. It seems to be easier to get bogged down when you're working from a photograph than if you were there in person. See, I'm going to bring those greens down, the lighter ones. But first I'm trying to get this part in here. So I see down here, I see that first mixture of green with the cadmium yellow and ultramarine blue, and I want to just get some of those. And the only way you can judge is by getting by doing it, really, for me anyway. I can't say, oh, I know I have exactly the color green, the value and the shade. Do I want the one with the yellow ochre? Do I want the one with the cadmium red? I was trying to get that back in there a little bit. And as I'm working, it's helping me to look at what I did and say, okay, I still want to get a little bit of less of that rose color, and yet I do want it to shine through. When you come over to this part of the canvas, right here, I see a lot more of that mixture that I made. Let me try. See, I'm going to finish this, but from here over, clean the brush. From there over, I see more of this color. I'm going to put it down, the color I have on right now, is the under color, right? Because it's darker. I'm going to come over it with, you know, with a lighter highlights in that mixture. So right here, and mine, I'm going to just bring it all the way over just to get the canvas covered right there. And I see some greens, earthy color right here, transparent oxide red with a little bit of that green. And I'm putting that here. So I took some of the yellow ochre green. I took my brush and tipped it into the transparent oxide red. So I really have a mixture of not you know, not a blend. See, this is much too, that was like an undertone, right? So here, there's that. What am I doing with that? I'm taking that green and I'm going to make sure that it's not a stripe. And it's going to come up here. But it's more of a shape. Okay, and that particular green, I'm also going to find some of the furrows, or you know, the edge, so it comes like this, goes up. I can see another, you got, again, with something like this, you don't want evenly spaced. Well, you know, I don't want to do another one and all the same space, the same distance apart. One thing you notice, it's down here, it's wider, and as it goes up, it's the perspective brings those lines narrower together. See over here, I see that on the photograph. I'm going to get that in there just to show you. So if I decide, okay, I'm going to have this here coming from over there, right? Coming from here. Whoa, too much. I can get rid of that. And maybe not. See, but as it comes up, it's going over that direction. And then you'll see, you don't have to do, that's another thing. You don't want to, everyone doesn't start down here. Right there, I see some that come like this, but they get narrow up at the top. And a little here. Right here is going to tone it. But gradually that field is being filled in. All right, so I have that right here. I'm gonna take white, that yellow ochre green, and a little. All right, so I have the yellow ochre green and white to make it very light. I'm going to take a touch of this, the yellow green, and add some white to that. So it's going to be really bright. But so I basically now have both colors on my brush, but I see like a little patch where it's okay, and some of the real bright yellow, but I'm going to want that to show up here. And then I'm going to go back into that red. But down here, it's going to be a lighter, some light green here too. I'm trying to keep that swooping type thing, but as I'm working, actually, it's you know, it's just sort of softly blending. Over here, see, I'm going back and forth. I know that, but that's what I want. So I'm now going to go into the yellow, that my Gamblin cadmium yellow light, which is very lemony. And I'm going to add a touch of yellow ochre to that. And then I want the light to hit up here. That's where that's going to be. So I'm going to bring light in there. Now I'm going to go back. All right. Here, with that color, I like it. I'm going to just make sure there's some of that bright green there. Now I'm going back to that reddish mixture, that violet reddish. And work with that. See here. Now, what I'm doing, you know, is basically really just how I paint. I keep moving around and seeing what I want to adjust, what I want to change, what I want to blend. See, here I'm going to push it up. Here, I know in the end I'm going to adjust that a little, but because I have this nice soft brush, I'm able to get those different soft, because that field, that the field is it looks soft. All right, back to that reddish. I'm going to put a little green here. And that's that warmish. Right here I have some green, but I have to watch it because it is a straw color green. So all I did was I took a little bit of the yellow ochre and I'm putting that there. And I'm going to get some of those just here and there in my that's green. Now I'm going to go back to this area. That green should come all the way off. My canvas is it's a little, what should I say? If I were to do it, you know, to look at, I'd say this canvas is a little longer. It, you know, the view made it that I have to bring the paint right to the edge, you know, just extend the tree line. But it seems to be working. Okay, now here I'm coming back to that pinkish color. See if I can do this. Yeah, all right, it's not pink enough. Still. So I'm taking my brush. And now I'm pulling it on, you know, the top part like grass. Still using the same brush, and what I do is I just wipe it off, you know, with my towel that I have in my hand. I'm trying to get a mixture of this green and rose color. I know I'm going to change something, you know, add some of that color here and there, but what I started out with that was so pink is now toned into a grayish color, and still has that alizarin and green and a little of the Terra Rosa in it, so that as I work and bring things where I want, all these colors are blending. And that's what I want, because, and the reason I want it is because it's working. That's about the only reason I can give it. I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, okay, this is working. So I see some lights right here. I am going to get that nice furrow in there. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come over here. Too much, so you can see what I just did, that it's just too violet. I'm going to go in with some alizarin and just mix it a little bit on the canvas. And I like it just like that. I really do. I'm going to get some here. So I have all these things right in small puddles, so to speak. And now here I'm going to come down. I see a wheat color a little bit. I'm going to just rinse my brush for a minute. And it doesn't entirely get rid of all the paint that's on it. And that's good, because I want this to blend, so to speak. So I'm going to take a little bit of the green, and I took a little bit of the yellow ochre green, and I took a little bit of the transparent oxide red, and toning down that green, but just want to get a nice edge where it's sometimes earthy, sometimes too green. I want to tone that down, definitely. Definitely. It just got too bright. Yeah, it's better. Okay. I'm almost across, huh? Getting there. Want this? I'm going to bring it over. Continue. And I'm getting my mixtures in there. I want to get taking that brighter green, and I'm going to take just a little bit of cobalt mixed with that and white. So the cobalt just sort of tones it down a little. Got to get a little bit more contrast. Not bad. And tone it down tiny bit, just a tiny bit. I'm bringing it right in with this reddish, that. And now I think I have what I want. Little. It needs to be grayer. I'm going to take the transparent oxide red into that green because I do want to tone it down a little. It's just too green. And I think I can do that also by just taking a little bit of that rose color, coaxing it in there. So I'm taking a little bit of the red, the rose color, and I'm coaxing it in there. And I'm going to bring this up, just sort of brush it up so that it's a soft transition. Now back here, that happens to be more hay. So I'm going back into that same, I have all those colors on, still on my palette, so I should be able to get this right. Yeah, so I'm just going right into some of those yellow ochre mixtures that I made initially. And I'm going to get this hay back there. This is going to be covered. But I have a lot of and then brighten it up a little bit with some of the yellow. I'm using all these colors. See all the things that I've been mixing as I'm working and actually telling you what I'm doing. But if I say, all right, I want to go into that, and I want to get it to really and that was a good choice. I have to support my hand to do this, but I'm trying to make it look like the light is just coming through here. Whoops, the brush slipped a little there. There you go. And that same color, I think, can be right here. If I can get it to, I'm going to push it and make a bead. And because I want to get it right there, I'm supporting my arm. There seems to be a little light showing there and there. And here. Definitely over here a little bit more yellowish. Right here. where the sun. There, look what that did. That's bringing the sun right into those fields. Now, I want that same color just toned down a little bit because I see it also hitting that hill back there. Okay. All right, so sit back for a minute and look at it from way back. Yeah, that's what I want. It's working. It's working. I know that I have pumpkins maybe a little bit higher than I really want, but I can deal with that, when I get that far. This color, I'm gonna try something, because if I try to mix this color next time, I can't say, oh, this is exactly what I want. Now, see, I'm gonna make that a little bit more of our sunny green, right? Will come here. And I am not making a stripe. I'm just hitting areas so you can see that that's going to be there. And this color now is totally wrong. So I'm just taking that same green and just adjusting that by wiping it in. And I think that'll work also. Still too bright, still too bright. But I like this. And I also see the top of that. The top of that hill. I hope this works. So I'm just trying to get us hit it without wavering. There, I just added a little orange, which I like. Okay. Okay, I'm just looking at what I'm doing here. Now I think what I want to do before I work anywhere else, I know we're going to come back. I know I'm going to have to get some of those greens. I just wanted to get these colors in and have them really so that you see them. And so that when I do come back, I'm just going to go right, add some other lights or darks or whatever I'm going to need. But this is a foundation. Got the color that I want. I'm going to adjust things. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to get some of these where you see the furrow that brings it up. That same color I see over here. Where do you see it in your painting? Look at it. I have a nice dark green here, so I can take this color and just lay it over that, leaving a lot of the dark there. And if you look at it, get the comes up and gets a little grayer, a little light though. It comes up here. And again, is guiding your eye into the, into that distance, perspective. I know this is going to have to be lightened a little bit. I'm just pushing my brush into it. Okay. And now I think what I want to do is get some of that sky in there, and then I think we will be able to refine everything. I do not have the house in there, but I want to put the house in. I now have these grays, and I can see them, in the photograph. I do have this shape to a certain extent, in my too blue, in my painting. But I'm just gonna put, this will probably be too white. Yeah, it is in the shade. It is shaded, right? I want to be careful with that. There it is. That's about what I want. That, and so that I have the shape and a hint of the roof. And I will put, the hint of windows. And it will have to also, be adjusted in the end, but I know there's a house there. I want it there. Is that too light? Yeah, I think it is. I really do. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna now get that. You can see it's somewhat lighter in one place. Trying to get it a little darker. Now it's too dark. Maybe not. And I see like an extension, a porch. And I see also that the tree, I'm going to put it in now, but this is going to be too green. I think maybe not. No, see, I want to get where you see the tree comes over the house. And where you realize that it's, hidden among the trees, or, behind those trees. To do that, I'm just going to take a little bit of Viridian, or even the darkest green, and a touch of alizarin, little bit of ultramarine blue, and just want to get those shaded parts of the tree over the house. But the house is there. Now I'm finally getting it, where it is in the trees, behind that particular tree, in the shadow of that tree. So I have to get my shape a little better. It's crooked. I'll tell you, when a line is not right, it really bothers me. But I think that's about the value right here. I mean, I might bring a little touch. I'm leaving this just as a shape right now, as the shape of a house. I will put a hint of the windows. Eventually get a little bit, see, right here is this side. And that helped a little bit, and I can get a porch, just the roof part of it, but when I'm looking at what I'm doing, it's beginning to look like it belongs there, that it's not just planted on the hill, but there. So you got that. And again, I am going to lighten up on it. I am going to refine it. I also see something right here. I have no idea what it is. Let me go ahead and see if I can.
You want to know? I figured out what every
I think
vehicle
they're
is.
like sheds and stuff, right? So
There's 7 vehicles on the property.
you see, I'm looking at, oh my goodness.
We can't hear you. You gotta holler.
There's 7 vehicles on the property, and they're all abandoned for a long time. There's a sedan, a burgundy sedan, a school bus, a minivan, a
So
trailer.
the bus is up on the hill, right?
Yeah, and there's a sedan parked behind that's burgundy.
Wow.
Yeah, and then below there's like a 3 Ford window
Yeah.
minivan, and
That's the
behind that
thing.
there's a wide trailer.
You have to decide what you want in your painting. I haven't decided yet. I just have that part. And I know yesterday Ralph and I went up to Warwick, and we went on the Wisner Farm property. And they have lots of tractors and things on the property, like there was a barn. And it had, I'll have to show you the photograph when, when we're offline. But it had a place where they had stored hay. It looked like like it was pouring out haystack. And there was this great red tractor right in the front. And I thought, oh, that would make such a great painting. So, that's in the future for me. But I do want to now get some of that sky in there, because I have a very blue wash on this, and I'm going to want it. I think it'll be easier to look at it and decide what you still need. When I sat back there, I saw that I really want this. No, not like that. I really want this to come up a little more, where it's more of a hill. I find that when I'm sitting back and just look at it for a while, I see, what I still want in this painting. So that's definitely already, that was an improvement. That part right there, right here, very interesting. That goes back. That goes back further than this. I see it coming up here. And then it gets this, again, that ochre color right here. And it goes back behind those trees. So what I just did brought this continues here. And then these trees are forward. So the hill is coming down here in here, and then you see that nice light field in the background. So as you work, that's what you have to look at. I do want to do a little bit with the sky because it's giving me trouble. Because I don't have enough of the sky done that that I can compare. I am going to have to, I hate to take away anything from here, that I have mixed, so that if when I want to work on it and change a little bit, I can. I'm just going to move my Viridian from this far left corner. I'm going to put it over on the other side, and it has a little gel, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm cleaning. The only way you're going to get good color is by cleaning your palette as you work. Yeah, piece of towel fell on the floor. So I cleaned out a corner. Right down here. Right here. And I'm going to get, I'm going to start a sky and work with it. But I'm going to take a bigger brush. Hopefully it's clean. It should be. I cleaned them. And I'm going to mix my blues. I don't want to get that gray. See, this is my gray blue. So I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine. I think the sky in the photograph is very light. And I think that must be just the bright, so now I'm taking the white that I have with the solvent-free gel. And I'm going to use that. I don't know how white I'm going to just check that on a corner of my palette, of my painting, because this is going to make a big difference. Yeah, see, it's very interesting how okay, so I'm going to start with that and work my way down. Now I got my brush has a lot of too much mix. So I'm going to get this here. Now, because I have this crazy ledge, just taking a tiny bit of Amsol as I work, but I have to go across the room because Amelia used it this week, and it's still by her place. But right now I'm going to make this fairly thin because I know I'm going to come in and adjust it, and I'm going to work my way down. Little bit. It seems to me that, when you're using the solvent-free gel, it does make it drag a little bit more than normal. Let me just get my color under here. I just, at this point, I could lift this, but at this point, I'd die if it fell down into my palette, and it wouldn't be the first time. So I'm just going to do this and try to get enough of it under there that when I come back and work on it more, I have it. I think I still gotta push it up there. All right, now as I come down, it gets a little lighter. And then it's gonna, and I'm just blending it, you know, I'm not making a stripe. I'm taking that color now, which is just a lighter value of the ultramarine. And I might even put a little warmth in it in a minute. And then from there, whoops, it just doesn't want to cooperate. There were some places are just a little lighter, you know, sort of like but partly just those where you have some of those really light streaks of clouds. See, I don't like that there. It's too little too dark. I want to get it, change that a little bit. There. And then I'm going to come down next with a tiny bit of that white with a little bit of cobalt. And that's a lighter blue. As it comes down, it's getting a little lighter. I'm gonna put in the end, I'll take a different brush, but I want it to be very clean. I'm gonna hate it tonight when I have to wash all these brushes. I'm gonna take a tiny bit of alizarin and white, just a little. As I said, alizarin is very strong. And I want to just get a little bit of that color in there, here and there, especially on this side. Forget like turning it a little bit violet here and there. Did I say little? It's not little. But as I take my brush and come back, it is. Again, see, I got it too much, so I'm just going to go over it a little bit. I just want some. See what it's doing. Basically, it has that. It's almost like it's a cloud, but it's just suggested, and it does have that nice color in it. Now over here, like as it comes over, it will be more violet. So it's taking that same alizarin mixture, going into that cobalt, and here I'm just going to get a little violet in there. But unless you're really up close, or you don't notice that color, it's there. You're not. When I'm looking at my computer, that's much more turquoise than it really is. But I'm going to try to get you looking at it real close, and let me see if that helps. But I have a lot of that violet color in that part of the sky. So it's not just a boring blue. And I see it when I sit back here and I like it. All right, let me see if I can adjust this. Where is that? Not into that thing. No, that's not what I want. No, not that. This is what I'm looking for. Because I want you to see that. And I'm just hoping that I can adjust it enough that you can see in here, I have a lot of that violet, and I'm gonna be very careful to when I put a little white with a tiny bit of warmth in this part. With doing that, you have to be careful because you don't want it to mix with the blue and give you green.
Mhm.
Although when it comes down to the horizon, you'll see that's basically what happens. Oh, gee whiz, where's that? Why did that? That's not what I want. Come on. It just totally. All right, now wait. See, now it looks gaudy and it's not. Right now my painting is it's almost, I would say, it's almost watercolor tones, really. Oh, come on. Yeah. All right, image adjustments. No, that's not it. Oh, white balance. No, I think the white balance I'm supposed to do, right? You can see some of the pinks now. It is not as deep as what you're seeing, but you can see the pinks.
Yeah.
Right here, brightness. Let's see if that helps. No. Saturation. Whatever. You got the picture. Actually, it's not too bad, but see right here, I have added just a touch of that alizarin. Now I'm gonna come in from here and I'm gonna bring the light part here, and then I'm gonna work on the horizon. And there I will use the Chevreuse blue. This is not as dark, not nearly as dark as what I'm seeing on my computer, but the colors, you should be able to see what I did. Here is where I put that straw color back there with such a green in it. These are all these alizarin colors and rose colors mixed with some greens. Here I have the wheat color in here, and these pumpkins are softer, at least, you know, what I see. I don't know whether it makes a difference on your computer, whether the problem is my monitor. Each monitor probably is different. But I did put, you can see here just that hint of that pinkish color, which basically is also hint in here. You can see how by working it and just adjusting it back and forth, I've gotten it more out of a pink into more of an earthy color, but still having that hint of that reddish, not reddish, but pinkish color. So I want to continue. Use the right brush too, don't, if I pick up a green brush, I'm gonna be in big trouble. I'm just gonna now soften it and ease it here. And then I'm gonna come over here and there, cleaning my brush. There, I'm going to take, make it a little lighter, still working with that cobalt color. And I'm gonna bring it down, but I want to, wow, this is so, it's so, what the word is I want to use. It's so soft, you know, it's so easy to manipulate. See, if I were taking that, I would take a white. And I'm going to take a, oh, barely little yellow ochre. Make a very warm white, making a very warm white. And away. So now, yeah, and you know, it might even be better to, I don't know, it's blending so nice. But now I'm getting just a hint of that yellow ochre, which again, when I think might be better to wait because I'm getting it in the blue. Let's see, white. And I do need gel with this. I'm just getting out a little bit. I'm just trying to mix a clean white puddle with some gel. And then I'll take I actually have a color called warm white.
Mm-hmm.
See, that has green in it. That's my problem. All right, yellow ochre. Yellow ochre. Much better. I had a pile there that I had already mixed, you know, for that yellow ochre green. And that was wrong. See, so here's what's happening now. I like that. I want to bring that nice light color from over there. And what you have to do with this as you work, whoops, getting the wrong puddle here, is if I'm using this now and I'm going to, oh, I think I might, I'm making it, you know, I'm not blending it entirely. I want some, been trying to paint a little thicker. Of course, I'm not doing that with this so much, but now looking at the photograph, I'm going to bring this down and find those poke holes. Very warm light on this side that I see anyway in the photograph. But if you're doing this and taking your time, which is what should be done, we're going to work it and we're going to find poke holes. Whoops, too much. Too yellow. I'll find poke holes. Look at your photo now. I think I really have to use a smaller brush to get this into these trees. I'll show you in a minute. But I just want to see what happens with this. Yeah, all right. Okay. Again, I'm taking another brush. Probably about 10 brushes I'm gonna have to. I don't always wash the brushes.
Mhm.
I rinse them in your Gamsol. First squeezing the bristles, taking the bristles in a piece of paper towel, getting all the paint out. And then rinsing it, washing it in your Gamsol, squeezing again, and you can get them pretty clean without washing. Another thing that I read this week, one artist who says you never have to wash your brushes. All you have to do is put them in the freezer. Now, my freezer is an apartment size freezer, so that would never work. But if you have, you can take your palette, you can store that in the freezer if you have it covered somehow. And it will keep your paints wet for a long time. Mine dry up quite quickly. And especially if you're using, the solvent-free gel has a tendency to dry out. See, now I'm working over here, I'm looking at the photograph, and I'm gonna find tiny places where I'm gonna take that and make poke holes. And you will be, I am gonna change some of the color. I'm just trying to work with the sky right here. But you can see what that's going to do. These, and we'll get more of an idea what I'm doing here, how that's going to look. So if I were to continue working this part, I do want to get a base idea, at least on the sky, right? I want to finish at least putting a base layer there. This tree has so many open areas that will bring this to life, really. And as it is within, you'll see this looks too light, too white. Yeah, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more of the yellow ochre to that part and adjust it that way. It'll, if it were blue, it would be a little more intense blue. But this, for me, I know I'm gonna have to really, especially this tree, I want to break it up. I want it to have that light shining through from the sky. Look at over here. In fact, if I were to do it now, I would probably go more down there, more into the cadmium yellow, white. I'm gonna try that. That was about here. So I have a more yellow, and I'm going to work around this, but not right now. So you get the idea. If you look at the photograph, they're this part here on this one tree has a lot of sky shining through and just branches. So it has to be, you know, what you want it, whatever you want. As far as, I don't even think I have as many trees there. I have part of one of the orange, and then here I'm going to be doing that other tree, maybe at this point it's too late. Okay, so I'm moving over and into that blue, that warmer blue, and can even, all right, let's do it. Let's get where is that blue? All right, it's cobalt and white. And I have it down here. I have to get this in here because I cannot, in the way it is now, I just can't judge anymore, you know, the different values. So I can always put another layer of sky over this when, you know, when we come back, if that's what I decide, but at least this way I'll have some idea of what I have to do. And very nice yellow. Where did the yellow brush go? Okay. Yeah, let me get this brush clean. And I'm liking, no, this not clean. I'm sorry, just give me a minute. I'm trying to make sure my brush is really clean. And because I like that yellowish, I'm gonna come down here. Jill. Ah, I went right into the mountain. And I did not want that. Paper towel to wipe that off. Because see, I'm stepping away from it and realizing, hey, that's much too white, much too bright. It looks okay over on the far left by the trees, but not here. I'm going to wipe it off for now, and I'm going to go into my cerulean or Sevres blue. And again, you have to be very, use very little at a time. And I'm gonna get that. That's a very cerulean Sevres blue, very intense blue. And I'm gonna take a little touch of my lemony yellow, just a touch. But enough of a touch that I see it. And it will be more of a greenish, but it's going to be correct. So I'm taking that color and I'm going to lay it down and see. Too much. All right, white. All right, that's close enough right now. But the right on the horizon, you get that turquoisey. It creates atmosphere. And we're gonna blend all this together and get it right, I hope. But I do want that down there right now so that I have some idea. Yeah, too white. And then next time, we'll work on everything a little bit more. I do, at the rate that this is getting done, I don't know if we're gonna finish it next week. I think next week's, I can't believe, next week is the last week in October. You know,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Wow. So we might have to go an extra week just to finish it. This is, has a lot of detail that we want to get without making it look like detail, right?
Mhm.
That's what I'm trying to do. Get this across. I don't know what, so I think I have a 12 by 16 here. So I get it over here. Now I'm going to work my way up. Just, okay. All right, now it goes up like this. For now, I'm looking at my cobalt blue. Cobalt. And white. So I'm getting the lighter blue as it comes down. And as I say, I'll probably spend some time adjusting it, but at least we have an idea, you know, what the sky colors, how they're going to work with what I'm doing. I have a rug under my foot here. Now, brush number, who knows what.
Mm.
But I'm just trying to now soften the whole thing because I don't want it splotchy. And I think it is. And I want to get this, I'm gonna probably have to go, not probably, I'll have to go over the mountain a little bit in the end. But I think this is gonna help, at least help me to see what I'm doing and where I'm gonna go. You know, that this sky. There, I think that's a little better. I want to sweep the sky over. Okay. All right. Yeah, you know, now what I'm seeing on the computer, I like. Do you see the difference? Like the little transition, over the far right, at least now I can judge what I've already done and then work to complete the whole thing. So if you have time to work on it, all these different steps, you can work on it and have it to the point where we can just make those last refined touches that I said I want in this. See over here, definitely know that I'm going to put this light color here and that it's going to blend in with the sky. So where do you see that? I see it. It's very sunlit right back here. So I want that. I want it more like this. I like that. And there are a couple places that, since I have it on my palette, that I am going to work on it and get that in there and brighten up. And just have scattered hints of clouds. All right. Okay. Okay, so I think a good idea, if you have time, is to work on those areas using the colors that we did today, and looking at it and saying, okay, I just think this little furrow should be a little lighter, but look for those colors. Now my house that's hidden in the trees is really hidden. I'm gonna make you know that there's a house back there, and I think it will be a light gray, but not as dark as what's there right now. I don't think. I'll see. But if I can get some of the poke holes in, of the trees, get them in there and break up those trees, and maybe even if you can look at it, get some of the highlights on those trees that are in the foreground, maybe a little tiny bit of the field, the trees in the field, and that as it goes back, which is what we did, we grayed out those trees a little more than the ones in the foreground. As it goes back, they get grayer and lighter.
Mhm.
And so then we'll be able to work to refine it. I hope. I'd like to be able to finish it next week, and maybe we can. Get your pumpkins. I know that I'm going to put a few more. The ones I have in that you see now that are just, this is much darker than it really is. I kept it very soft. Those pumpkins, I'm not going to do too much with them. I know I'm going to add a few going back. Just you can see the hint of the orange, which I want. I don't want to be able to say, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pumpkins back there. We want, it's a mass. It's a mass of color. Yeah, I will add a little dark here and there, a little light here and there. Definitely going to work on that field. And I do want that rosy color to shine through in certain places. So I think it's a good, it's not a good start because it's maybe the middle, a little more than middle. And the field the field over way and on the right, that green. I might warm that up just a little bit. And then when we come back, we can put the highlight greens where the sun is streaking across the pumpkins and the you know, the weeds where you're just going to hit it. I have to do that with a palette knife and probably can only tell you how I'm going to accomplish it because I don't think I can do it while I am teaching because I think I'm gonna have to. See, I have to get rid of this is in my way. But see, if we come in with just a few, and you can scrape, you can bend, but we want to get just those. It'll make all the difference. This is my base, and the weeds are going to, you know, be the top layer. I'm just trying to. I have a smaller palette knife. It might be what I would need to do this. If, you know, while I'm teaching, I don't know. See, I think I can get some, probably the other knife I love. It's got a very long blade, but I like this one, and I can start to, I think we can do some of it. And what I'm going to do also is you know, get some of those. I love working with a palette knife. I love the texture and what you can do with it. See what I just did? If I have that green and it's just a little thicker, this is a good brush. I mean, a good knife for that. It's probably 1/2 inch, but I like the ones with the points. Okay, so any questions?
No, not for me.
No, this is fun.
Okay. Yeah, see, if you have a palette knife that's small, I think I have a lot of palette knives. I have palette knives from way back. Let me get them. I'll show you. So, you know, it's not like one size fits all. There they are. Some of them need to be scraped, but you can get them where if I use this one,
Yeah.
right? So you can go that way. But at least if you have a couple,
Mhm.
and the good ones are the CHE space SON, Chi Sun. I don't know if they have them in black. They might. But you know, they're the ones that I like the best. That one, and of course, some of the old ones that you just can't buy anymore. But it's good to have different sizes. But for this grass stuff, we need a small, I need anyway, a smaller one.
Mhm.
But I think we're gonna have a beautiful painting when we're done. See, I was sort of playing with, I'm making a cow eventually. And I was playing with that grass technique with my palette knife.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
have a base green of just a suggestion of different colors for the grass. And then I'm gonna put this nice thick texture with the weeds.
Really nice.
Okay. I
Thank
think
you.
that's it,
Okay.
right? So have a great weekend, except tomorrow's gonna pour, right?
Yeah, that's what